Okay, the last step of the elevation in Photoshop is to add people. So you can find people online, of course, or you could take some of the tracing files that are included with the book and scan them in, which is what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to choose one of my people. So first thing I'm going to do, since we're not really working at any scale, I'm just going to go ahead and crop this image down right here and say, okay. And now what I want to do is choose her. Rather than clicking in all the little spaces, the best way for me to do this, I'm going to show you a little trick, is to click right there. I clicked on the background, and now I go to select inverse, and it selects the opposite. So now instead of the background, now it has selected just her. So I can use my move tool to drag her onto my drawing. Unfortunately, she ended up down at the bottom. Let's bring her up a little further, right about there. All right. Of course, she's too big, so let's go to Edit, Transform, and Scale. Maybe about like that. Don't forget to hold down the Shift key so that the proportions are constrained. I'm going to put her up on this top floor. I think that might be just a little bit big. I'm going to scale her down a little bit more. I think that looks about right. Okay, I could leave her like that. That definitely works for me. First thing I should do is probably change that layer name to figure. So I know that's my figure. And I have some different options. One of them is to just change the opacity of the figure so that she's see-through. Just because, as we have talked about kind of in detail in the book, you know, your eye tends to go to people when they're in any type of drawing. So you want to make them not stand out quite so much. Something else that I could do is I could fill her with a color. So going back to figure, let's zoom in on her. I could give her a couple of different colors for her different clothing, or I could do the same trick I just did where I'm clicking around her and now I say select inverse, and I'm going to use my option key because it wasn't right here. Her feet are connected. I want to make sure that this right here in between her legs does not get selected, because that would look kind of strange if that was filled in as one big blob. And now I can go ahead and fill her in. Let's go ahead and just do Edit, Fill, Foreground Color, and now we've got a little silhouette figure. Once again, I could change the opacity of that if I like, or I could fill her with white or gray or whatever you think looks good. So before I finish this, I just want to zoom in on her feet. You want to make sure, of course this is an elevation, want to make sure that it looks flat. So I just want to select that and delete. Let's go ahead and zoom out, and we can move her, you know, different places. She might look good over here by the front door. You might want to put somebody else in here too. Generally, you want to put in people in your elevations because it really helps with scale. But you don't want one person by themselves because they tend to look kind of lonely. You always want to have at least two people, and of course odd numbers usually look best. So if you can put 3 people in, that's usually the best way to go.